Are we going? Yes, we are. What's up, guys? It's your boy McKinley Crain here. Today, I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free movie review of the movie that I just saw earlier today, which is the 2021 drama film Nomadland. So this is a movie that stars Frances McDormand, sorry, as Fern. And Fern is a woman who is, well, not exactly like, a super old woman. Like, she's like, at that age where, like, she most people consider, like, retiring from their jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, early 60s. I think she's around, like, her early 60s. And this movie takes place, like, during the Great Recession. Um, and you can tell because a lot of people are losing their jobs. So basically, she loses her job, and basically she like gets to a point where she can't like afford to live in a house anymore. So she starts living in her RV. And then she gets the idea to become a nomad, who is like, basically a person that doesn't live anywhere and just basically travels across the world and like, just lives in like a car or something, or just lives in a boat, or just lives in hotels. But so basically she decides to do that. And it's actually a very touching movie. You would expect a movie like that to be like, well, not very touching, but it's a very touching movie. The plot is very thin. This is not a very plot heavy movie. I mean, it's got a plot, but it's a very thin plot. It's like, it's like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I mean, it has a plot, but the plot is just very thin. But that's not a bad thing at all for this movie or for Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This movie and that movie didn't need to be like, very plot heavy. This movie like needed extra time to like focus on like, character development and like, the way the characters communicate with each other and stuff like that. And it's great. These characters in the characters in this movie, especially the main character, feel very very realistic. Like they feel like real people. And they you can always just kind of feel what they're feeling as you're watching this movie. And these are very these actors who play these characters give very convincing performances, and there's a lot of strong acting in this movie. All of the acting is great. This movie isn't perfect by any means, but it is a great movie. It's a great movie with just great everything. Nothing's wrong with it, but nothing's perfect in it. Like, this movie isn't perfect, but it is a great movie. I love the chemistry between the characters. I love the beautiful settings. Like, this movie has like a lot of beautiful settings. I love like the whole peaceful atmosphere of this movie. Like, this movie just kind of like puts me at like, like, well, it kind of like gives me like a peaceful vibe while like watching it. Well, it kind of gave me a peaceful vibe while I was watching it. Like, you know, just a really chill, peaceful vibe, and I love this movie. It was a little bit better than I expected it to be. Um, I expected it to be great. I just didn't expect it to be as great as it was. This movie was very, you know, like very emotional at times, and emotional in a good way, of course. That benefits the story, and I love this. I love this movie. While I was watching this movie, I was just like, you know something? This reminds me of a movie that I saw a couple years ago called The Rider, which is a 2017 film. And I was just like, these two movies have like similar, like, you know, just editing styles and like similar pacing and just a similar way of like, and both of the movies, like, you know, have like a similar way that they're told. And then later, when I looked up The Rider, the 2017 movie The Rider, to see if they were, you know, they had anything in common, like, you know, like same writers, same actors. They were both written and directed by the same person, which makes sense because, you know, those two movies have like very similar, like, you know, just directing styles, if you know what I mean. They have very similar like styles of directing. Anyway, this movie has great editing. It's got great pacing. It's not a fast-paced movie. It's a slow-burning movie, but, you know, it's slow-burning in a good way that benefits the story. And I love this movie. It was a great movie. The editing is great. The performance is great. The ending was great and very satisfying. From start to finish, this movie was just great. And it was just very, very convincing. It was a very convincing and realistic in a good kind of way movie, and I love it. It's not for everyone, but you know, it's for people like me. I love this kind of movie. I know that not everybody doesn't. I know that not everybody loves this kind of movie, but I do. And if you love this kind of movie too, then you'll probably enjoy Nomadland. Anyway, I'm going to give this movie an 86% out of 100%, which is the equivalent of an A-. Like, subscribe, join the notification squad. I will return.